Good morning, St. Lawrence family. Today is Monday, April 6th. We begin our day with the reading of our mission statement. We believe St. Lawrence School provides academic, moral, social, and educational excellence to all in a Christian environment centered in the person and gospel of Jesus Christ. We see children as unique individuals and lifelong learners while celebrating their cultural diversity and unique talents. And boys and girls, we begin our day by making the sign of the cross in the name of the Father,
the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Our first reading, Jesus criticized the religious leaders of his time for serving themselves rather than caring for the people. When Jesus' popularity began growing quickly, those leaders felt so threatened that they got people to lie about Jesus so that they could accuse him of a crime. And we're going to pause now, as we always do, to remember the sick and deceased members of our St. Lawrence family. Also, this morning, boys and girls, I would ask that you keep in your prayers the safety and well-being of all our St. Lawrence students and their families, teachers, the parish, my entire staff, our parish community, and those in our state, the country, and around the world who during this very difficult time caused by the impact of the COVID-19 virus and that impact that it's made on their daily lives. And we pause. And now our gospel reading this morning is a reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Those who had arrested Jesus took him to Caiaphas, the high priest, in whose house the scribes and the elders had gathered. The chief priests and the whole council were looking for a false testimony against Jesus so that they might put him to death. But they found none, though many false witnesses came forward. At last, two came forward and said, "This fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and to build it in 3 days." The high priest stood up and said, "Have you no answer?" But Jesus was silent. Then the high priest said to him, "I put you under oath before the living God. Tell us if you are the Messiah, the Son of God." And Jesus said to him, "You have said so." Then the high priest said, "You have now heard his blasphemy. What is your verdict?" And they answered, "He deserves death." And this is the gospel of the Lord, and thanks be to God. And boys and girls, I'm going to ask now, if you would, to put your hand over your heart as we recite together the Pledge of Allegiance.
Stand up. Right hand. Right hand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have a birthday to announce this morning, and it's one of our students from pre-K4. It's Gabriella DiNicola's birthday. So boys and girls, we all sent out birthday wishes to Gabriella in our pre-K4 classroom.
Say happy birthday.
And
Happy
now this
birthday,
morning I'm going to give a shout
Gabriella.
out to our boys and girls in our fabulous kindergarten class.
Kindergarten.
I hope you're up. I hope you had breakfast. And here we go. I want to say hi to every one of our precious little kindergarten students. Good morning, Philip, Nicholas, Sebastian, Laura, Ishan, Anthony, Jake, Carissa, Ricardo, Travis, Celeste, Mariel, Aria, Nariah, Peyton, Crystal, and George. Good morning to all our kindergarten students.
No, shout out for all the kindergartens.
Until tomorrow morning, goodbye, stay well, and God bless you all.
Thank you, bye.
Hi guys, good to see you again. I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to start out with our daily routine like we do every single day. And then I have a great story that we're going to reread today because I know you liked it so much and it goes along with the sentence that I want you to write perfectly. Is everybody ready? All right, let's shake it out.
Shake it out.
Let's start. Ready? A is for ah. B is for b. C is for c. D is for d. E is for F is for G is for g. H is for I is for I. J is for j. K is for k. L is for l. M is for N is for n. O is for P is for p. Q is for qu. R is for S is for s. T is for t. U is for V is for v. W is for w. X is for x. Y is for y. And Z is for z. Big finish. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Awesome job. Today I'm going to reread for you the story of Ferdinand, and it's by Monroe Leaf. And the illustrations are by Robert Lawson. Remember we read this in school not too long ago, and it was about Ferdinand the bull, who wasn't like all of the other bulls that were in the yard where he used to play. At the end of the story, that we're going to have a sentence that we're going to do that kind of relates to this. Is everybody ready? The Story of Ferdinand by Monroe Leaf. Once upon a time in Spain, there was a little bull, and his name was Ferdinand. Isn't he adorable? All the other little bulls he lived with would like to run and jump and bang their heads together. See how they're playing kind of rough?
Why the TV on?
But not Ferdinand. Do you guys remember what Ferdinand used to like to do? He liked to just sit quietly and smell the flowers. That's my kind of bull. He had a favorite spot out in the pasture under a cork tree. There he is. It was his favorite tree, and he would sit in its shade all day and smell the flowers. Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, would worry about him. She was afraid that he would be lonesome all by himself. Why don't you run and play with all the other little bulls and skip and jump and bang your head, she said. But Ferdinand would shake his head. I like it better here where I can just sit quietly and smell the flowers. His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, even though she was a cow, she let him just sit there and be happy. I bet you remember what's going to happen. As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew until he was very big and strong. I like in this picture, they have little marks on the tree that shows how Ferdinand grew. All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. They would bang their heads together and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to be picked to fight at the bullfights in Madrid. Look at them all looking at that sign. But not Ferdinand. He still liked to sit quietly under the cork tree and smell the flowers. Look, you can see his little shadow.
But one time he sat on a flower in the beach and then he jumped in his book.
One day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, fastest, roughest bull to fight in the bullfights of Madrid. Look at those men. They're looking for a very aggressive bull. That means really likes to fight. All the other bulls ran around snorting and headbutting and leaping and jumping so that the men would think that they were very strong and fierce, and they would pick them. Look at them. Ferdinand knew that they would not pick him, so he didn't care. So he went out to sit under his favorite cork tree. He didn't look where he was sitting, and instead of sitting on the nice cool grass in the shade, he sat on a, what guys? A bumblebee. Look at that bumblebee. Well, if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat down on you, what would you do? And you would sting him. And that's just what the bee did to Ferdinand. I love this picture. Look at Ferdinand's eyes. Wow, did it hurt. Ferdinand jumped up with a snort. He ran around puffing and snorting and butting and pawing the ground as if he were crazy. Uh-oh. I think those men are going to get the wrong idea about Ferdinand. The 5 men saw him and they all shouted with joy. Here was the largest, fiercest bull of all. He was just the one made for the bullfights in Madrid. Oh, they're so wrong. He just got stung. So they took him away for the bullfight in a cart. Look, there he is, getting brought into Madrid. What a day it was. Flags were flying, bands were playing. And all of the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair.
Will he win?
Uh-oh. What happens when Ferdinand smells flowers? Oh, no. They had a parade into the bull ring. First came the bandoleros with long, sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick the bull and make him mad. Oh. Next came the picadors who rode skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick the bull and make him even madder. Then came the matador, the proudest of all. He thought he was very handsome, and he bowed to all the ladies. He had a red cape and a sword and was supposed to stick the bull last of all. Look at him. He really feels important. Then came the bull, and you know who that was, don't you? Ferdinand. Oh, look, guys, he's just peeking out. Just his little tiny head. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all of the bandoleros were afraid of him, and the picadors were afraid of him, and the matador was scared stiff. That means like super afraid. Ferdinand ran into the middle of the ring, and everyone was shouting and clapping because they thought he was going to be the fiercest fighter and butt his head and snort and stick his horns all around. They are going to be so disappointed. But not Ferdinand. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers and all the ladies' lovely hair, and he just sat down quietly and he smelled. Oh, look at that. That is adorable. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what they did. He just sat and smelled. All the bandoleros were mad, and the picadors were madder, and the matador was so mad that he cried because he couldn't show off with his cape and his sword. Look at them. They're all trying to make him angry, and they just can't do it. So, they had to take Ferdinand back home. There he goes. And for all I know, he is still sitting there under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers just quietly. And he is very happy. The end. I love that story. That is such a good one. I remember how much you guys liked it when we read it in school. So, today for your sentence, since that book was about a bull who really loved the smell of flowers, today I want you to write a sentence about your 3 favorite smells. So your sentence is going to say, 3 favorite smells are. For me, 3 of my favorite smells would be, I love the smell of pizza. You know how sometimes when we're playing outside at the playground, you can smell the pizza cooking from the pizza restaurant that's around the corner. And I love the smell of popcorn. Sometimes when we're watching a movie at home, or if we go to the movies, you can smell the popcorn popping, and I really like that smell. And I think the last smell is I love the smell of shampoo. I think that that's such a pretty smell, that soapy, shampoo-y smell that smells nice and clean. So if I were writing the sentence, I would write 3 favorite smells are pizza and popcorn and shampoo. Now, you're going to have 3 different smells, and we're going to put our spaces in between our words, and we're going to use the word and to link them all together, and we're also going to remember to put that period at the end. Don't forget, as always, the first letter of the first word in the sentence is going to have a capital letter. Okay, guys, so after you do that for reading, today we're going to do something a little bit different that we're going to actually do when we get back to school. So this will give you a little head start, kind of a sneak peek on something that we're going to do. We're going to be using something at school that's called a magic square. And Mrs. Lear didn't really have a paper that was perfect to make a square shape, so I did it kind of on a rectangle. I should probably call it a magic rectangle instead. But I want you to make a paper that looks like this. What I did was I took the paper and I folded it a little bit so I had 2 small rectangles on each side, a yellow one and a blue one, and then a big green rectangle in the middle. The reason I chose these 3 colors is because we did a lesson not too long ago where we talked about primary colors, and we said that they were red and yellow and blue. And then if you mix 2 of the primary colors together, you get a secondary color. And on this paper, we have the 2 primary colors on the outside, which is yellow and blue, and the color that they create when they're mixed together is in the center, and that is green. So I want you to get a piece of paper, and I want you to color it like this. So you have a skinny yellow rectangle on one side, and a skinny blue rectangle on the other, and a big fat green one in the middle. Now, after you make your magic square or magic rectangle, I want you to find something at home that you can use to do some counting with. I happen to find a bag of gummy bears, and that's what I'm going to use when I do this activity. But you can use anything. You can use coins, you can use pasta, you can use cereal, anything that you have lying around the house, even Legos or blocks. But this is something that I had that was in the kitchen because that's the room in the house that I'm in, and it was quick and easy to grab. I want you to have a grown-up make some addition sentences for you. On this paper, I know they're going to come up backwards. I just realized that when I hold them up, they come up backwards, but I'm pretty sure that a grown-up will be able to read the number sentences that I have on the paper in front of you. I have a rubber ducky up here because when we're doing our normal math papers at school, we have a rubber ducky to show the first example, and I have a number sentence that says 3 plus 1 equals, and then there's a blank, which means I don't know yet. We're going to do this number sentence on the magic square. What you do to try and get the answer to what 3 plus 1 equals is we're going to take the first number in this number sentence, which is the number 3. And I'm going to take 3 gummy bears and I'm going to put them on the yellow rectangle. 1, 2, and 3. The second number in my number sentence was 3 plus, which means we're going to add this to it or join this with it. It's 1. So I'm going to go over to the blue rectangle on my square, and I'm going to grab another gummy bear. Doesn't matter about the color, I just want to make sure my number matches. 1. 3 on the yellow because that was the first number. 3 plus 1 on the blue because that's the second number. Now, after I've got my 2 rectangles, the yellow and the blue, with the right number of gummy bears in them, I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to make like a bulldozer, and I'm going to bulldoze them into the middle box like that. And now I'm going to count them to find out the answer. Now, something very important. Right now, this is not a lot of gummy bears. It's not a huge number. But when the numbers get bigger and we have numbers like 13 and 17, it's very important that we count this special way. It's called push-away counting. You're going to take your finger and put it on the first thing that's in the box, and we're going to push it away as we count it and kind of make a separate pile so we don't make a mistake and mix up and count it over and over again. Or miss it the first time and then not get the right answer. So I'm going to put my finger on the first gummy bear and I'm going to push it away and say 1. And then I'm going to put my finger on the next gummy bear and I'm going to push it away and say 2. I'm not done yet, so I'm going to keep going. Next gummy bear, I'm putting my finger on it and I'm going to push it away and say 3. And then the last gummy bear, I'm going to put my finger on it and push it away and say 4. So the answer to my number sentence, I know it's backwards, but a grown-up will write it the right way for you. 3 plus 1 equals, the answer is 4. Because when I pushed those 2 groups together into the middle and I did my push-away counting, I got the number 4. Let's try another one together. So I'm going to do it again. Look, I have another one. It's a heart row. Just like if we were at school, we would do the heart row next. The first number is the number 2. So I'm going to take 2 gummy bears, 1, 2, and I put them on the yellow side of the magic square. The second number is the number 3. So I'm going to put 3 gummy bears on the blue side. 1, 2, 3. Does anybody remember what we do after this? After we get those 2 piles together, we have that plus sign, which means we're going to put them together to make one big group. Instead of having 2 small separate groups, we're going to push them together. So I'm going to take them and I'm going to bulldoze them into the middle like this. And now what do I do? If you said push away counting, you were correct. So I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to put it on the first gummy bear and I'm going to push away and say 1. Next one, push away and say 2. Next one, push away and say 3. Next one, push away and say 4. And I have one more, push away and say 5. So I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to write the number 5. So now my number sentence has an answer. 2 plus 3 equals 5. Let's do one more together. We have our shamrock row. It says 4 plus 2 equals, I don't know yet because we didn't do the answer. So I'm going to shake off my gummy bears. The first number is 4. So I'm going to take 4 gummy bears. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The second number is 2. So I'm going to take 2 gummy bears. 1, 2. Now I need to bulldoze them together again. I'm going to push and push and push and push and push and put them into a nice pile. And now to find out what happens when I take a group of 4 and I take a group of 2 and I put them together, now I need to push away count. So here I go. Push away 1. Push away 2. 3. 4, 5, and 6. So then I'll grab my crayon and I'll make the number 6. So now I have an answer. 4 plus 2 equals 6. So today, guys, that's what I want you to practice. I want you to make your very own magic square or magic rectangle. Make your yellow column and your blue column and your big green column in the middle, because we're taking those two colors, those two rows, and we're going to push them together into that green row to see what that final answer is. And I want you to practice this with having a grown-up making number sentences for you and you trying to see if you can get the answer. We're starting out with real small numbers today, and I know you're going to probably say, Miss Valero, this is so easy, we can totally do this. Give me bigger numbers, and don't worry, we will, but we're going to start out this way and get really used to using this magic squares so that when the numbers get bigger and you are trying to do them with your fingers and stuff, it won't work out so good. So we really want to use these manipulatives and get super good at it. Okay? The other things that you can do is this today, instead of going to Lexia and going to Starfall, you can go on scholasticlearnathome.com and you can do week 1, lesson 2. The last lesson that you did on Scholastic Learn at Home was about rabbits, and today's lesson will be about plants, and you're going to learn about how different things grow. And as a matter of fact, you're going to get a sneak peek of one of the authors that we're going to do before the end of the school year, and her name is Lois Eller, another one of my favorites.
Read it again.
She does a lot of pictures by collaging. She paints paper and finds interesting paper and cuts it into different shapes to make the pictures in her book, and then takes a picture of those pictures, takes a picture of those pieces of paper with her camera, and that's how she makes the illustrations for her books. And sometimes she even uses real objects like pine cones and buttons and things. She's really, really cool. The other thing that I wanted to mention to you is Mr. DeFonso sent an email out to all your families that talked about a way that you can learn a little bit about Holy Week, which is the special week that's coming up before Easter, where we really would talk about the Stations of the Cross, like we were doing our coloring book in school about all of the things that happened to Jesus while he was carrying his cross up to the top of the hill before he was ready to open the gates of heaven. So if your family can open that email from Mr. DeFonso, there's a link there that will bring them to a special magazine called Promise Magazine for kindergarten and first grade, and it will have all kinds of activities that they can do with you to help prepare you for the big holiday that's coming up, which is Easter. Okay, guys, it was great to be here with you today, and I'll see you really soon. Bye-bye.
Say bye-bye.